This is The Heat Source, the podcast where we learn everything we can about hot sauce, one bottle at a time. We're your hosts, Mike and Matt, and today we're trying Panca Peruvian hot sauce. Let's heat up. Welcome back to The Heat Source, where we learn about new sauces weekly, one bottle at a time. This week we have a brand new sauce that we're trying. This is Panca Peruvian hot sauce. This is a hot sauce company out of California. And this is one where we actually each have our own bottles this time. So no chugging from a jar. Chugging from a bottle instead.
I'm gonna miss it. Yeah,
But
I'm sure I'll be back to it next
yeah.
week.
But yeah, we I enjoy when I edit the videos. I'm like, oh yeah, like just like chugging down the jar. I think the last clip I did of
I saw the last one you zoomed in on it as I was like chugging
it's
it down.
impressive.
It looks like I'm laying to it, but I'm just kind of
Yeah,
sipping
you're just
it.
trying to get it to, because some of the viscosity of those, like it takes a little bit of angle, but the
Yeah.
look is cool, and that's what's important. But no, we're trying the Panca Peruvian hot sauce. This week's episode is sponsored by Scoville.com. We'll talk about them a little bit later. But I'm interested in this. I'm not as knowledgeable about like Peruvian cuisine. I think there was a Peruvian restaurant locally here, but I don't know if it's still around.
I don't recall that
And this
one.
one, there's a bit of interesting history with this one. It's not a in-depth, very long deep dive that I've got on this one, but there's some similarities to something that I think you'd find interesting. But um, but before we talk about that, I do want to mention I was making dinner tonight actually, and you remember, or have you seen on? I think it's on the First We Feast page. There's the guy that makes the different types of like burgers. He does all the retro burgers. He's got like gray hair. I don't
Hmm.
know what his name is. I wish I knew. I'll put a photo of him up.
Yeah.
But he had because I think he has a restaurant where like they'll do specials of the week, and there are different burger types and sandwiches throughout history and throughout the country. And there's this Iowa-based
Hmm.
sandwich where it's just called a loose beef sandwich. It's like a sloppy Joe, but without the sauce. I know. Yeah,
Hmm.
I heard it too when they when they talked about it. But the sandwich is literally it's untoasted bun, mustard, white onion, raw white onion. You throw down cooked ground beef, just like really like get it nice and crispy, but there's no extra seasoning in
Hmm.
it. Pickles, and then you do a splash of salt as a finisher, and then you eat that. Like that's all it is.
That does
It's
sound really good
so
though.
I was like, I need to try this, and everyone's like, it doesn't seem that interesting to me, and I'm like, it doesn't seem interesting, but the simplicity of it seems like it's gonna be good. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I recorded a little bit of a snippet video. I might try to
Huh.
put something together on that. I did do the classic version, like they said, but then I did a slightly untraditional where I put the I think it was the Hornet Bomb from Pex Peppers. I mixed that in with the mustard, so it gave that mustard a little bit
Hmm.
of honey. There's a little bit of lime in there and a lot of heat. Put that in there, and it wasn't killer because it was one of four ingredients. But the ground beef, I literally just put it in the cast iron pan and just let it sit for as long as possible until I was like worried I wasn't going to get it off the pan. Like it was a crust, and then flipped it, and
Right.
then just broke it all up, and it was just so good.
That does sound
Just
really
like
good.
frying,
The more I think about it, the more I see it
because
working.
all it is,
Like a lot.
yeah, because all it is just frying. Because I think I got like 73% ground beef, so it's like just frying in its own juices. It was so good.
Yeah.
But I got a 3 pound thing of beef. I did 1 pound of that and 2 pounds of meatballs. So one was like really fancy, like there's a bunch of onion and garlic and parsley and Italian breadcrumb and all that in these meatballs. And then the other thing is just a pan of just beef fried almost to burnt, but just like crispy, just the right amount of crispy. So
Did you season the beef at all or no?
not until the end. I just did the finishing salt at the end.
Gotcha.
So it's,
Gotcha.
I mean, it tasted like something that was like very classic. Like if you went to a diner and that's what you got, I'd feel like, okay, like nothing super out of this world, but just really, really solid.
Yeah. Hmm.
My I think it was it my cousin was talking about. Oh no, a friend of mine, he was making beef jerky, and he's like, hey, he's like, I'm dehydrating my own beef jerky, and he's like, I even put hot sauce in there, and I'm like, oh, what kind? He's like, don't judge me. He's like, it was Frank's, and I'm like, honestly, if you're doing a lot of like marinating and it's a high volume, Frank's is kind of the one to do because you're gonna get all that vinegar and acidity, and you're not gonna spend like
Yeah.
$20 just dumping a bottle.
You don't want to take a 5 ounce $14 bottle and
I
marinate
mean,
with it.
I would do it for certain meals, especially like the wealth of
Yeah.
hot sauce that we have. Like, I just down here, I realized even though my fridge is full, just down here, I'm like, I've got 7 bottles of hot sauce open down here that I need to move upstairs because now it's getting warmer. So the
Mhm.
cool basement isn't like quasi refrigerated anymore. Now it's more room temp. So even though I did
Yeah.
get a lot of grief at the Philly show from some of the longtime chili head hot sauce guys that are like, refrigerator, I'm fine, and I'm just like, we'll see. We'll see if that long term goes okay for you. The more
Yeah. What
the
is
highly acidic,
I refrigerate all my hot sauce
yeah,
pretty much no matter
yeah.
what. Is that standard practice in the craft hot
So
sauce
like
industry? I've never paid
most
attention
of
to it.
them say keep refrigerate after opening, and part of that is just it protects them from anything. And the bigger I saw this, Ed Curry did a video on this where he's like, it's more so like anything that gets on the rim. If you're pouring and the bottle's hitting like food particles and then you leave it out, that stuff would go bad, and the
Mm.
fridge would preserve that. But the other thing is just some of these sauces are like highly acidic, like the high vinegar, content where it's like, all right, that's
Yeah.
probably fine in any condition. But then there's other ones where
Right.
it's like, hey, this is like heavy fruit, heavy, you know, like we had the cauliflower one from Neil's Real Deal, and it's like
Yeah.
those ones. It's like it's probably fine, but it's just safer. But I do whenever I use a hot sauce, I typically try to pull it out before I start cooking, so that way it's out for like a half hour or so it gets to at least a little less of the chill in it, because it is better at
Hmm.
room temperature. So
Yeah. Oh yeah, sauces are definitely more mild in flavor and heat when they're
yeah,
cold
but
though.
I know that there's a large group that say you don't need to refrigerate it. Now, if I eat some of these sauces as fast as I have been, doesn't matter one way or the other. But for some of them that are a little bit more seasonal or situational, a lot of my like heavy fruit flavored ones that I know I want to use throughout like a couple month period, um, those ones I put in the fridge just to be safe. And like the chocolate sauce one, that was one that I didn't want to leave that one out. So
Yeah, right. What I just thought of this. What would you say is the number one item that should be refrigerated that is not? And this is just my personal opinion because I am a serious offender of something,
number one
and I'm
item that
sure
should be
most
refrigerated. So in
community is.
my house, the number one item that I think should be refrigerated that we don't is some of our fruit, like the strawberries and blueberries. Angela leaves out on the counter, and I feel like we're making.
You don't refrigerate
No,
fruit?
we go through it
Oh,
pretty fast. The
how
kids
long is it?
eat it pretty fast, but
Okay.
if they don't eat it within a day or two, it does get rough. So I have when it's like strawberries are on sale, I'll pull them out.
Hmm.
I'll put them in like in a setup with like paper towel to get all the excess moisture, and I'll put them in the fridge, and then they'll be
Gotcha.
fine. But that's the big one in our house. The opposite side of that is the thing that I always used to refrigerate growing up, and since being with Angela, she always has it out. Is at least one stick of butter is in like one of those butter containers out on the counter, and
Oh
I'm
yeah.
like,
Yeah. Growing up, always had butter in
yeah,
the fridge.
always,
As an adult, I'm like, gosh dang it! Now I got to pull butter from the fridge. It's gonna be
yeah.
hard.
I'm like, what a beautiful convenience. Like, and we have a designated tub for it and everything. But what is it that you don't refrigerate that you should?
What came to mind was Kraft Parmesan cheese.
Oh, you don't refrigerate that?
No, no, and I didn't know you're supposed to. So like growing up, it was just like it was in the spice cabinet all the
Well, you
time.
don't want the sawdust to go
And we,
bad.
yeah, I'm not saying it's good, um, but it's like the very '90s thing to do is get that, put it on your spaghetti.
Yeah,
I didn't know until I was an adult that you were supposed to refrigerate that. It says right there, refrigerate after
sure.
opening. I've eaten that Kraft Parmesan cheese that is 9 months old that has never seen anything below 72 degrees.
Interesting. I
and it's been totally fine. I'm still alive.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I guess there is like I think on the ingredient list they do list some type of like milk cultures and stuff, so that probably makes sense. But it's all dry. Like there's not a lot of moisture in it, so I don't
sure.
know. Yeah, we
Yeah. I
we
don't
get the
know.
green can, which is like the one they call like a lot of people are like, oh, it's just sawdust and whatever.
Yeah,
And
the
I'm like, it
green one.
tastes delicious. And then I've gotten like real Parmesan, either like a block or I've gotten like freshly grated Parmesan in a pre grated container. And my kids always like everyone still goes back to the green box, the green can. They're like, no, give me that one.
I haven't had it in years though.
Yeah,
I remember liking it. I never didn't like it, but I have not had it
it.
in years.
But no, I mean, we always refrigerate ours, but I could see how it would last. But yeah, I'm sure somebody's gonna be like, don't, don't do that. I'm trying to think if there's
Yeah.
anything else that we don't refrigerate that. No, I think the fruit is the big one where it's just like,
It, I, the only sauce I don't refrigerate is Valentina's.
oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like those highly
Yeah.
vinegar ones, like I wouldn't like Frank's. I know that.
I wouldn't leave my Franks out though. My Franks is always in
So
the fridge. I don't know why.
one
I
of the
just
big
I
things
have it.
is I think leaving it out and not refrigerating it is the color. I think it discolors faster if it's not in the fridge. And I think
Hmm.
even though that doesn't change the taste in most cases, when it just like when it fades or changes, it is like you eat with your eyes just as much as with your mouth. At least I've been told. And
Yeah.
so that would be the thing that I would be thrown off by is like I want it to look pretty. I want my hot sauces looking pretty
Yeah.
for me.
Right.
Um, Interesting. Okay, we do. Yeah, like there's been times where like I've seen stuff left out. Oh, that was the other thing. Angela will like I've made garlic bread, not like cheese covered garlic bread, but just regular, and she'll just like wrap it and then leave it on the counter in a bag. And I'm like, don't know.
That one's weird.
I'm like, I know bread is fine at room temp.
Make sure Angela doesn't listen to this episode. This is
This is the
this is roast
this is
Angela
the one
hour.
time. This is the one episode that she'll listen to. I don't think.
So I'm curious what Matthew does. I don't want to know what Angela does. What does
I'm
Matthew
just
do?
trying. Yeah, nice save. Yeah, you're on her good side now. I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know what is weird that I wouldn't refrigerate. My parents,
You're like the
I'm
Scott
always thinking of
in
other
your
people.
household. You're
So
like, I'm
I'm
perfect.
thinking of other people
I'm
where I'm just like, yeah, my parents like refrigerate their bread. We don't refrigerate our bread. Um,
I don't know. I've never done that. I started refrigerating my apples.
I like to do that, but I don't think it's necessary. Like leave them on the
It's
counter.
not. It makes them last a little bit longer, but for whatever reason lately, cold apples just are hitting
I could
better.
see that. Um, yeah, I'm thinking what's on my counter right now, and I just can't.
I pulled a bonehead move. Speaking of refrigeration,
Okay.
so you know the shell chocolate topping that you put
Yeah,
on
the one
ice
that like
cream?
hardens when it gets
Like
cold. Yeah.
yeah. So I was at my parents,
Mm-hmm.
and I grew up having it. I haven't had it in a long time. I went to their fridge and they had it, and it was for someone's
Mm-hmm.
birthday, and we are having cake and ice cream, and I'm like, oh shoot, I'll put some of that on there. Took the bottle, and I'm like, oh, it is just a block. Like I cannot squeeze this in any way, shape, or
Okay.
form. Like an absolute moron. Instead of reading it or just being like, oh, pop it in the microwave for 10 seconds and it'll be totally fine. Immediately, like my reptile brain was like, well, this is bad. So I just took scissors and I just start hacking away at the bottle to get this block of it out. My brother's like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I think it's bad. Like, it's just like taking out a chocolate candle. He's like, just put it in the microwave. I'm like, it's a really good idea. So I like finished cutting it at that
Yeah.
point, put it in a bowl, and just threw the bowl in the microwave.
All the microplastics you just contaminated that with.
Dude, I felt so stupid. And now the world knows about
You
it.
just you just like, oh, let me just like tomahawk chop this in half. That's fine. Um,
Yeah. I don't know. It never dawned on me. Just like a little bit of hot water, it would have been
One of
fine.
my favorite when I used to work at that my aunt's ice cream shop when I was a kid. One of my favorite flurries was doing chocolate covered cherry or chocolate covered strawberry flurries, where you take that hardening chocolate and you put a little
Hmm.
ice cream, throw that in, put a little ice cream, throw that in, and then you throw either cherry filling or a strawberry sauce, and then we had a flurry blender, but you then it breaks up the chocolate bits. The chocolate bits harden, and then you break it up so you have these
I bet that's
little
sweet.
bites of chocolate and you get the fruit. It's yeah. Could do that with peanut
Do
butter
you know
and
what makes
banana
it
too.
hard? Do you know what makes
Probably
it hard?
oil.
Paraffin wax.
Delicious, delicious paraffin wax.
Just like this is not related to food, but like when you dye, I grew up in an outdoor family, so we would trap like fur
Yeah.
trap, and we would you'd dye your traps and then you'd soak them in you'd boil paraffin
Yeah.
wax, and that makes them water resistant. You just get like a block of wax and you throw it in boiling water, but this paraffin wax is like a big candle,
Okay.
so that like when you get that
I wonder
hardening
if there's a
shell,
certain percentage they have
you're
to.
essentially just eating a chocolate
Yeah. It's
candle.
like, what's the percentage that you'd have to ratio with the chocolate where it's still technically a food?
Oh, I bet it's way too high.
Yeah.
In the States, it's got to be up there where it's like that is 1 degrees away
And just
from
and a
not
splash
food.
of red 40 just for good measure.
Yeah, it's
Hey,
the Subway yoga
I
mat
I
situation.
did see, and then we'll try to get back on target here with the episode. But I did see, um, Aldi's their brand of chips and stuff. They don't use Red 40 in any of their stuff. They haven't for a while. So
Oh, have you seen Aldi's Instagram? Have you followed
no,
that? They're absolutely roasting the United States right now, and it is hilarious because everyone's like, "Oh, we're getting rid of Red 40 and all this," and Aldi's posting all these troll accounts of like Kenny from Where the Millers.
okay,
Like, you guys are using Red 40 stuff like
yeah,
that.
their stuff's good.
They yeah,
My I got it. My kids a variety
it doesn't
pack.
last very long.
I got my kids the variety pack of like chips from them. And it's all like the Clancy brand, and
I like
and
Clancy.
they liked them. So I'm like, cool. Don't have to get the name brand Doritos. You can get just the
Hmm.
the tortilla chip squares or triangles or whatever. All right. So one more off-topic thing that I did want to mention because it's the thing that's all over the internet right now. Um, have you seen the debate of 100 people versus one gorilla?
I've seen it, but I have not followed it. I'm like just today was like the first day where I'm like I've seen it multiple times.
So the main debate is, can 100 people defeat one gorilla? Now, as someone that you are probably
And just hand to hand
just hand to
combat.
hand, no weapons, can 100
Okay.
people defeat one gorilla? In your opinion, do you think the humans would have? And this is just average human. Um,
So you're taking average humans versus
yep.
one gorilla. Not a
So
chance.
now, what if we upgrade the average human is now like, um,
Like you're just throwing a bunch of Kimbo slices at it.
yeah, I was trying to think of something a little bit less, but I mean, do you think 100 Kimbo slices could defeat one gorilla?
So if you took let's go. So if you went to a CrossFit
Yeah,
gym,
yeah,
you said give
that's a good,
100
yeah.
people. I need 100 volunteers from a
Hmm.
CrossFit gym. Um, give me a minute. I gotta do
I can
math.
give you a little bit of context here. I have some notes that I took. All right,
Okay, I'm gonna
here's some
say
comparisons for gorillas versus humans. The average gorilla can lift and throw 1,800 pounds. The heaviest deadlift a human's ever done is 1,104 pounds. So 700 pounds less is the greatest feat of a human than what a gorilla can lift and throw on average. The PSI bite of a gorilla is 1,300. The average human PSI bite is 120 to 160. The record is 975. So again, we're about 325 less from our greatest to their average. And a gorilla can run 20 to 25 miles per hour over short distances, and the record human speed is 27.8. So
okay.
so there's a
Um,
couple just to give you some bearing.
I was leaning gorilla. That just reinforced gorilla.
So
Not a
here's
chance.
my thing with the gorilla human debate. So you have 100 humans. Let's whether they're average humans or whether they're all Shaquille O'Neals in their prime. Um, how many can actually surround the gorilla in one instance? Because if you're like, oh well, if they all go after him at once, it's like, all right, but
Yeah, the guy at the back of the line doesn't
yeah,
count.
like if I'm the 100th person, I mean, luckily the gorilla will be tired by the time I get to him, hopefully. But it's still like, all right, he just defeated like
Barely.
waves of because you could probably get like 8 people around a gorilla roughly, And so you're saying
Here's how it would go. So is this fight to death or just submission?
death.
Death. Okay. That gorilla
I mean, death
is
or
going to be grab,
unconscious or whatever. Just
grab, bite to the back end of the neck, grab, bite to the back of the neck, grab, bite to the back. He's not wasting any energy lifting, pulling, throwing punches, dodging, bobbing and
but I think
weaving.
even if he did
He's
like
just
one
grab,
helicopter
grab,
swing,
bite.
he could knock a couple people down or back, especially if he gets them in the
Oh yeah,
face. Just
yeah.
MacGruber style, just throat pulls on all of them.
We gotta throw in a video without context. There's a video of a
We
he's a
don't do
guide
videos without context. We
in.
do photos without
We need to
context.
start him. Yeah, that's why we only have seven
I'm just gonna
viewers.
post a video with no caption, and it's just that's it.
You can post a picture of
Okay.
it. It is a it's a guy. He's like a guide in
Hmm.
Africa. They're taking this group of people to go see these. I think they're mountain gorillas. Um, this gorilla just walks up to this guy, grabs him by the pant leg, and just starts walking
Yeah.
away with this guy. Does not affect his stride. Like if I were to grab you and try to drag you across the floor, it would be squat, pull, squat,
Right.
pull. Like I couldn't just grab you with one hand and start walking. Um, this gorilla just picks the guy up by the pant leg and drags him away. And the look on this guy's face, just bug eyed, going away
Yeah.
like that. It is so funny. But point of that, gorilla exerted zero effort to drag a fully grown man across the jungle floor just to f with him.
Yeah.
Gorillas
I
win
just
every
I
time.
just it's hard for me. Like the only thing I could see, and again, this is like adding parameters to it. If it's like, hey, it's hand to hand combat, but if there's a setting where like the humans in the back could try to like quickly like make a makeshift weapon of some kind, it's like, hey, first 50, go after him. We're gonna break these sticks and sharpen them and try to get,
Yeah,
like,
you guys
yeah,
distract them.
you guys distract him with your death, and then we will come in. I saw. I also saw one video where it was just a guy. It was from a commercial where there was this guy and his wife like putting stuff over by the curb, and like a gorilla just shows up randomly, and the caption said, "When you're the 100th guy and you ran away, went into hiding, and the gorilla finally came back to finish the fight." And it's like, oh god. But no, I
It's funny.
the big thing for me was like you can't get 100 people all like attacking him at once. You're really getting 6 to 10 somewhere, but probably 8 people at once. So you're talking about, you know, 10 waves, 10 to 12 waves of people coming at this gorilla. And I don't
Yeah.
think 10 to 12 waves are really going to tire him out as much as you think it might. Like he will probably get tired, but also he's got more dense muscle than, any human. He's, stronger. I mean, just look at the lift and throw, like 1,800 pounds lift and throw. You're talking about like 6 or 7 guys that are like 200, 250 pounds. He's going to be able to just, I mean, if he just threw them, I don't know how far he could throw 1,800 pounds.
He's gonna pick one guy up and throw him and knock out
Yeah,
five
you throw
guys.
one guy and or you just grab one guy and use him, whipping him around, using him as you know,
The fact that
a
that's
nunchuck.
the world must be bored right now because the fact that that's a viral debate online,
It's just
it's
every
like
now and then there's the question where you got to see.
there's no argument for
I
the
think I saw
people.
another thing where it was like they asked Americans how confident you were in defeating different animals, and they asked like British people, and like Americans are overly cocky on what they could defeat. Like there was a insanely large amount percentage that said like, oh, I could defeat a grizzly bear hand to hand, and like British people were
Oh yeah,
like, I don't think I could take a house cat. I did like it was like 50-50 on a house cat. Like they were more like, I don't know.
people always underestimate animals. Take a 9 pound house
Yeah.
cat and try to clip his nails. Hold a freaking domesticated house cat down, and you are gonna get absolutely
I thought my
smoked.
dog broke my nose this morning just from jumping up into my face, with that, the force of its head. So I'm like, yeah, they could take me out.
Yeah,
But all right. Well, those are our tangents of the episode. So we're gonna get into this.
45 minutes.
Yeah, we're gonna get this sauce. But before we get into that sauce, we're gonna do a quick word from our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Scoville.com, your new favorite hot sauce hookup. Scoville features sauces from 70 small batch makers across the country. Even better, their custom subscription box lets you pick your heat level, favorite flavors, and food pairings. You get 1 or 3 bottles delivered monthly, curated just for you. Head to Scoville.com and use code The Heat Source for 50% off your first month subscription. That's Scoville.com. Now let's get back to the show. All right.
God, that was good.
Wasn't it?
That was good. That was
The
clean.
last couple I've just been recording off camera, and so you haven't been able to see them, but I was like, we'll just read this one. All right. So we're going to get into Panka. And I do appreciate the person who messaged me back on Instagram that said, here's how you pronounce it, because I don't know. The only thing I wish is I would have attempted to pronounce it before to know what I would have done. I know I would not have gotten it right.
I might have. I probably would have thrown an U in there that doesn't belong there and probably said Panqua.
I was probably going to say panka, panka, but the pan is a little bit of the where I would have been off. But this is, again, it's a Peruvian hot sauce. Let's read some of the ingredients here. So this is a hot sauce for everyone. It's only 1 out of 4 flames on this one. And if you look at the bottle, I don't know if I can pick it up on the camera here. It's got a beautiful design on there. Nice little gold trim on there. Canola oil, panca pepper. It's got ají amarillo. You've got lemon juice, lemon zest, garlic, red wine vinegar, potassium metabisulfate, ginger root, gluten-free soy sauce, extra virgin olive oil, black pepper, kosher sea salt, and cumin. So let me open this one up. Now so here's where this is interesting about this sauce.
Perfect.
I didn't hear it on here, but I'll have to amplify the
I'm
microphone.
the only person in the history of the world to pull a double perforated sleeve and it not make a single sound.
Yeah, usually it makes like a little ratchet. Little. So this is the interesting about the panca hot sauce that I'm going to tell you real quick, and you tell me what it sounds like. So panca hot sauce actually originated in a restaurant. There's in Encinitas. There's let's see if I can pull up the name of the restaurant here. There's a Peruvian restaurant called let's see, Quiero. So there's a Peruvian hot sauce company, a Peruvian restaurant called Quiero in Encinitas, California, that had this sauce that went with their empanadas. And people loved the sauce so much that they started to bottle it so they could sell in their store. And it's just grown to the point of now they're starting to grow it locally or sell it locally, and they're getting into online sales. So
this sounds a lot like El
I
Camino.
know your Mexican restaurant sauce. I was like, this seems like a Peruvian version of your El Camino hot sauce that you had.
But this is the sauce that started in
Yeah.
that
So
restaurant.
this sauce has been they've been making this sauce for over 20 years. Smells
Oh
delicious.
man, it smells really.
Smells delicious.
Smells like it belongs on tacos or empanadas.
Yeah, I can totally see the empanada, like the smell on that. Makes a lot of sense. It does smell really good. Some of these I can just
This might
smell.
be a dumb question.
Yeah,
Um, ignorant question. Are empanadas Peruvian or
I can't
Mexican?
tell you if that's a dumb question or not because I don't feel confident answering that. So we're gonna do a quick search here.
You're not on trial, Matt.
I just typed the most incoherent way to question. I said, "Are empanadas origin?" Um, empanadas originate in Spain, specifically in the Galicia region. As they spread to Latin America, particularly to countries like Argentina, Chile, and Colombia, they evolved into smaller single crust pockets filled with various regional ingredients. Also, I mean,
Hmm.
the the pasty in Michigan is basically an empanada, just not the same.
Yeah,
Although
it's a less flavorful. It's the most bland empanada you can think
I
of.
think the Michigan pasty is less empanada origin and more UK or Ireland. I think that's where some of that origin comes from. So
I think it's Irish.
I can't.
Could
I
be
knew
wrong.
I heard it at one point and then I forgot it. Yeah, I love the smell of this. Let's get a spoonful so we can get trying this. It's funny where it's like you smelled it and you're like, oh yeah, tacos for sure. But then also I'm like, and empanadas would go good with this. I'm gonna add a little bit of separation on that. I want to shake this up a bit.
That's yeah, it does have the oil in there, so it does separate a little bit. Not bad though.
But with empanadas, I can see you want it to have, that oil would be almost like if doing a chili oil.
Yeah.
All right. I'm ready to do a spoonful if you're ready. Okay.
Yep.
Hmm. The lemon is surprising.
It's kind of sweet.
So it's a
Hmm.
little sweet. I mean, that lemon citrus cutting through is really, really nice. And I think the aji amarillo pepper, if I remember correctly, and I may be way off on this, I think that has some good pairing to go with a citrus like a lemon.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Man, that's good. I like that. I wasn't
The
expecting that.
cumin is light.
You know what? You know what? It's got so I get a lot of lemon. You know what I have the aftertaste of? And this is a compliment.
Okay.
Lemon bars.
I don't get that. I get
I
the
taste
lemon
like
aftertaste, but lemon bars is a little bit much. But I mean, I get it.
I taste like I just ate a lemon bar, which is good because I that is like my top
How
three
much cumin
desserts.
do you put in your lemon bars?
Not enough.
Maybe that's the trick. You're gonna unlock something. You're gonna make someone lemon bars and they're like, what is the flavor that's making this so good? Like, never gonna tell. It's just toasted cumin seeds.
Yeah, right.
Toasted cumin seeds in the crust.
I could eat that whole bottle though. That's
This
good.
does go down smooth. So one of the first things besides empanadas, one of the other things that I was thinking of with this is like, you ever do like a roasted rosemary potato? I would almost do roasted potatoes in this, but I would use this sauce instead of like a rosemary seasoning. I think these would
Yeah.
be a really good kind of potato side dish. It almost would become like not potato salad because that's very American, like mayo based. But I'm talking about like just a potato in a sauce side dish that would be
Yeah.
really good with like
Hmm.
a primary protein.
God, that'd go good on French fries too. I don't know why French fries just
I would dip this in French
sound good
fries.
with that.
So one of the things I've been doing lately, and this may, I don't know if this would anger hot sauce makers or if they would be okay with this, um, because I like keeping my hot sauce lasting longer, and I love dipping, like doing chips and dip. I like making my own like chip dip. I will do either a sour cream mayo base, and then I'll put a heavy dose of a hot sauce in there, to where then like it's not as firm as like a normal chip dip. It's a little more runny, but it's like heavy into the hot sauce flavor. But the other components just like make it last longer, and I can dip chips more frequently. It's kind of a,
Hmm.
I know you just do sit there with a tortilla chip, a tortilla chip sauce, but I love doing that. It's
Yeah.
just to me, and I'll dip French fries in it. If I'm eating like a sandwich or a burger, I'll just dip it in there and be like, "There's my sauce." But this,
Hmm.
yeah, now I need to figure out how to get empanadas so I can try it with that. But I feel like there's more to this one, especially with like that lemon. Be good with fish. I think this would be good.
Oh
Be
yeah.
good on fish.
This would go. This would go good because it's pretty. I don't want to call it generic, but it's because it's common flavor as far as like lemon and cumin
Yeah.
goes. Uh, you could do this. I mean, any nationality food really. There's not any. Let's say other than ice cream, you can put this on pretty much anything.
I mean, we don't know yet if it doesn't go on ice cream. You got a lemon bar ice cream right there.
Ah, there you go.
I think also, and I'd have to test it out on some things to know for sure, because it's got like with the cumin. If you put it on something more taco or Mexican based, I think the cumin will play a little bit better. And if you do something where
Hmm.
like with fish, I think the lemon lends itself to that better. Where some of those flavors might stand out depending on what dish you do.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, dang, that's really good. It is so. It is something because I mean we talked about there was a little bit of separation. It is an decently heavy oil sauce, so it's almost like it's got a little bit of like a chili oil vibe to it because of how much oil is in it. Because I mean canola
Right.
oil was the first ingredient, but it's a very smooth sauce.
Yeah. Smooth as what I got out of the oils.
It's
It's got that almost emulsified
it's like
smoothness to
not
it.
it's a step below some of the more emulsified ones we've had. I know There was that one from Miletta's that was like the sunflower oil.
Yeah.
That one was a
Yep.
little bit more emulsified with that oil. Still a really good sauce. The my least favorite word of tasting, the mouthfeel is very like smooth. So
Is that an official term?
that is an official term.
Really?
The
I could
the
have picked a different
well, didn't I? Do you still have it, or maybe I have it now? The tasting book that has like the flavor components. I think it's in there.
one. Oh, I have it. Yeah.
I think it says mouthfeel
Is
in
it
there.
mouthfeel?
Yeah.
Huh.
Um, but all right. So again, there's not a whole lot with the history on this one because again, it is more the restaurant that has made this sauce, and then they've just started to bottle it, sell it locally. It is something they sell and grow it. Or I'm sorry, they are selling it locally and trying to grow it out. So there is an online way to buy it. One thing I found interesting: the sizes you can order this in. You have your very standard 5 ounce bottle. You have a little bit more impressive 12 ounce bottle. If you really need to get through this for like a big event, they have a half-gallon option. But my favorite one,
Hmm.
there is a keychain size one that you can get. So they sell
Oh,
a
that's
hot sauce
funny.
bottle. It looks like one of those hand sanitizer squirt bottles on a carabiner,
Yeah,
and you can get one of
that's
those, and it
funny.
just has the little logo on it.
I'm surprised you don't see more of those because, like, I feel like Tabasco. I don't know if they invented that, but like everyone knows about the mini Tabasco
Yeah,
bottles. You know, but I'm surprised there's not more Tamagotchi style keychains out there for hot sauce.
I'm going to bring back Tamagotchis, but it's just going to be like trying to keep your hot sauce from expiring. Million
Yeah,
dollar idea
in your
right there.
refrigerator now.
I'm gonna.
Can you imagine like sitting down with your keys in your pocket though, and that pot liquor opening up, and you taking Miletta's hot sauce all over the?
Yeah, I think this would be one of those where it'd be more like hooking it onto like my backpack because like if it squeezes out, it just like goes out. But like having it in your pocket and be
I'm
like, there's
assuming.
an orange stain coming from like your waist. And it's like, well,
Why is my seat on effing fire right now?
yeah. You sit down on the keychain and you're just like lemon and cumin. Interesting. Did not know. I'd be like, man,
With the
I think
stain.
you crapped your pants, but it's like smells really good.
Oh
Be
no.
like, yeah, it's just goes to show not all of it's
No,
bad. But
you're the first person to ever say that and solidified on the internet now. Congratulations.
I definitely am not the first person to say that. There's too much out on the internet. Um, but yeah, the no, this sauce I've been having a bunch of spoonfuls. This is really really good. I'm trying to think. My sister's doing for Mother's Day in a couple days, which when this is coming out after that, so happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Um, I'm trying to think. They're doing a brunch, and I'm like, what brunch item? I mean, a quiche, like certain quiches, I think would go fine with this. I think that would be good.
Oh yeah, any egg, any like
Any egg
savory
dish.
breakfast item, a breakfast sandwich,
I want to get. I might just bring like a pack of
American
frozen
pie.
hash browns, like those McDonald's style, like little squares, and then just throw this on
Yeah,
there, fry an egg on top, call it a day.
big
Call it a
time.
day.
That'd be really good.
But
Very universal sauce. I can see this going everywhere on
so
anything.
it's funny, like whenever I talk to the sauce makers before, I'm like, hey, we're gonna try this sauce. Like, just let me know. And one of the things, the person said, they were like, hey, this, this sauce goes on everything and all that, and it's one of those things where I believe them, but also I'm like, yeah, everybody, no one wants to like pigeonhole their sauce. No one wants to be like,
Yeah,
hey, this is only for Doritos. You can only do this on, zesty ranch Doritos. And so the fact that like yeah, it goes on everything, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But then trying it, I'm like, no, it really would, like you said, other than ice cream, but we're not counting it out yet. But we'll see. But other than that, I'm like,
we'll get
it
there.
really goes on everything. So that is pretty impressive. I'm also trying as we're recording. My kids are sleeping upstairs, and Angel's up there too, so I'm not like leaving them stranded. But I'm like, every time I hear a movement, I'm like, anything, anything going on up there?
Are we getting anyone to join us soon?
I hope not. She would not be happy. It would be we'd have a cut, and then suddenly it'd be like another day, different shirts. It's like yeah, we had to finish a different day. Um,
Yeah.
Also, it's super late at night right now. We almost had like a midnight showing, uh, yesterday when when we were
Yeah.
recording.
I think it texted you at 12:30. I'm like, "Hey, I'm ready if you are, but I'm not recording tonight."
No, you text me initially and you're like, "Hey, gonna be late. Like I still can, but it'd be like 11:30." And I just was like, "We'll give it a shot. We'll see." And I was up. I was watching catching up on one of my TV shows. And then you but you send it and
Hmm.
it's like, "Yeah, I'm done, but it's not going to happen tonight at 12:30." And my first thought was going to be like challenge you, be like, "Come on. Like we can do it." But then also I was like it'd be the first episode where it's like, "Well, we fell asleep at this point, so that's where the episode ends." Um
Yeah.
Eventually
Half hour
we
of
keep doing
snoring.
it later and later. We will get back to our morning show routine. So
Yeah, we're closer to that than not.
it would be fun.
A lot of these we wrap up around midnight.
Yeah, it would be funny to do a morning show style episode where it's like it looks like a daytime show, like a Regis and Kelly. Dibs on
Yeah.
being Regis. Um. Anyway,
Kelly's still alive, I'm pretty sure. So go
I'm
for
more
it.
I'm more equivalent of Regis's activity than Kelly's probably. I'm not that active right now. Um. All right. What did you do for your fun fact for this one?
I went with a phenomenon on Lake Titicaca. And yes, I said that because I think it's funny.
Do I need to edit that out? That's what I need to find out from YouTube.
No, that's what it's called. It's hold on. Titikaka.
Uh oh.
Some articles have Caca.
Okay.
Lake Titicaca. Maybe I'm saying it
No,
wrong,
you're saying it right.
but that's
So
okay.
what's the connection to Lake Titicaca?
So it is in Peru,
Okay.
and on the western side of Lake Titicaca,
You're gonna keep
uh,
saying it as much as you can.
see how many times I can get it in one paragraph.
Yeah.
Um, it says the Uros people, have created their own floating islands out of reeds and uh, totora plant and the totora plant, which grow in the lake. The inhabitants of the islands even build their houses and boats out of the totora plant. So I looked it up. Definitely a photo without context. These giant floating mats of they look like reed mats, but there's legit buildings built on top of these floating islands. Like I was expecting like maybe just a little makeshift
Mm-hmm.
something, but there are very livable shelters and even like hotels you can stay on these floating mats.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I looked it up. I zoomed in on Google Maps, and sure enough, they're just kind of floating around. I don't know how they're anchored or anything like that, but just man-made islands with very established dwellings on them.
Yeah, that's
Which is, I mean, that's my kind of neighborhood. Like, you mean I get to live on a floating island?
like it's a
I don't have to be near anyone.
step up from a houseboat. It's like anybody can have a houseboat. We got a
It's way cooler than a
freaking
houseboat.
island. I saw recently there was a drawing of a diagram of like how I think it's Venice, like how Venice is sustained and like above water. And I didn't fact check to see if it was actually true because it was just a Facebook thing. So it's always one of those where I'm like, oh, that's really
Mhm.
interesting. And then after I scroll past it, I'm like, I'm gonna have to verify that before I
Wonder if
go
it's
into
true.
detail.
Venice is built on a big platform.
But yeah, the platform one that one makes sense. This was because it was a hand drawn thing. I was like, this seems like it could be AI generated. But no, that's really
Hmm.
interesting. I did not know, I didn't know. I mean, I never thought about it, but I didn't know Lake Titicaca was in Peru. But I don't know a whole lot about Peru, so that was part of like with hot
What's
sauces in general. It's like anything that has other country influences. I'm like, oh, I'm going to learn something new today because I've never eaten like Peruvian cuisine. I'm sure I've had different things, but I've never really sat
yeah,
down and gone, okay, here is like an authentic Peruvian meal.
right.
So
And I've definitely heard of Titicaca,
yeah,
but
you
I don't
have.
know if it's something like I don't know why you just say it like that, but like I don't know if it's been like a slang phrase that's been used in at some point in my life, or like it's one of those words that you threw around as a kid in the
I think it's
'90s,
just a
like
funny
Titicaca.
word. It's kind of like in Looney Tunes, they always would say like, "Oh, we took a wrong turn. What was it a wrong turn at Albuquerque?" They would say Albuquerque because it's
Yeah,
just a
or
fun
Timbuktu or something
Timbuktu.
like that, or
It's just
Titicaca.
like, yeah, those are
I feel like
fun.
it falls into that because I've definitely
Machu
heard it,
Picchu.
but yeah, when I went and looked for this, it found me. I didn't find it. So,
Machu Picchu was one of my nicknames when I was a kid.
do you know that's also in Peru?
I did not. What a coincidence.
I thought you were doing that on
No, that would
purpose.
have been a great transition for a fun
It's
fact.
actually in Peru. It's one of the seven wonders of the world in Peru. It's got over 3,000
I
steps
was
in it.
looking,
Because
I didn't
that
realize,
was backup
I was looking
fact.
at where Peru was in relation to Brazil, and I think they share a border at some point
Head
because
west.
a friend of ours from work is from Brazil, so I was like, hey, not a Brazilian hot sauce, but like we're getting close. He's just
Yeah.
like not interested.
Brazil's such an interesting place. When you look at a map,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, Americans are just terrible with geography. I think I'm like probably in the 49th percentile. Like I'm a little bit better than the
And
average
I am
person.
below that.
But it always blows my mind when you look at a map of South
Mm-hmm.
America, Brazil is effing
Yeah,
huge. Like it goes from, which I also think is interesting. You have like Rio de Janeiro, like massive cities,
mm-hmm.
but go west a couple hours and you have probably uncontacted
Sure.
tribes.
Well, and Brazil, I mean, has a lot of that eastern border of South America, but then also it's touching Peru, which is on the west coast of the
Yeah.
continent. So, yeah, it is quite wide spanning. But I did tell him, I was like, we'll find a Brazilian hot sauce. But this one, we didn't talk about the heat on this one. Um, this is a very low heat, very minimal
I
heat.
would say this takes the number one spot for least amount of heat.
I think the
You taste pepper, but I don't get any
I
heat at
think
all.
this is still not as mild as that's what Shishido said. I think that one is still milder, I would say.
That was pretty
Yeah.
mild. I forgot
That was
about that
very
one.
intentionally mild. This one, very close to that though. I'm trying to think if there's any other
Yeah.
mild sauces.
Not a bad
No,
thing.
not a, like we love that sauce. So it doesn't always have to be like burn you. I do like some warmth. I do like a little bit of heat from the sauce. I did. I was selling something on Facebook Marketplace, and I like had to meet someone uh, at my on my lunch break, and I was eating my taco salad that had the stanky sauce, uh, jalapeno reaper, the sweet jalapeno reaper sauce, and I took like a
Hmm.
big spoonful of just like a lot of sauce, and I was like feeling it pretty good. And then they pulled up, so I was just like, "Yeah." So they're like, "This guy's totally on cocaine." Like this is
Matt's tweaking out on
yeah,
coke again in
just
his
meeting
work
someone
truck.
in a no, it was a personal vehicle, but meeting someone in a personal vehicle in
Okay,
a
sorry,
random
personal
parking lot,
vehicle.
making a money deal, and they gave me cash too. It wasn't even Venmo, so it's like even more like what's going on. And then I just go back to sweating in my car. Um, so
It's like he was brushing his teeth with his finger.
but like yeah, we pulled him over. He said, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Oh, don't worry, it's just stanky sauce." But like, is that the street name for it now? Is that the It's just that sweet heat, that sweet heat that we got going on. Like, yeah, I bet, buddy.
He gets back in his car and calls his wife. He's like, "That guy was hitting on me. He wanted the stanky
Yeah,
sauce."
it was a lot of misinformation going on with that ordeal. But like I was just selling a couple extra, Christmas lights, and then suddenly, but okay, so let's get into my fun fact on this one. Um, I just went into general Peru facts. I was like, I want to learn more about Peru, because again,
Hold on. So you went into general Peru and you didn't bump into Machu Picchu at
nope,
all?
because I went food based.
Ah, okay.
So, um, because I was looking at like what are common, like some common things, common dishes in Peru and whatnot. And one thing that I found is that potatoes are this one article had it said the crop that powers worldwide dishes. Peru is home to 3,000 types of domesticated potato and almost 100 types of corn. They said Ireland might be famous for potatoes, but the crop is originally from the Andes Mountains. No European, African, or Asian had seen or eaten a potato before the 16th century.
I did see that. I was blown away at that.
But
They discovered potatoes, what was it, 4,000 years
something
ago?
like that, yeah. But it said
Yeah. I
potatoes.
had no
So
idea.
potatoes are not the only crop native to Peru. There are a few others that gain popularity around the world. Before I say them, you don't have to like guess shot in the dark, but like if you do you know of any other ones that are like known from Peru? I've got four here.
Um, I'm gonna know 'em when you say them, and everyone says that. But hang on, let me get one guess in.
Do you want me to give you the categories? There's four different types. I'll give you the four each
Yeah,
category of each
drop
item.
some hints. Let's make a game out of this. Drop some hints.
So we got a grain, we have a bean, we have a nut, and we have a tuber.
That doesn't help at all. All right, so we have
Okay.
a grain. Let's go with. Um, I'm just gonna say wheat.
Now quinoa.
Oh,
Yep.
definitely wouldn't
High
have got
protein
that.
grain,
Makes
much
sense
loved
though.
by vegetarians. All right, let's go. Let's guess that bean. Roll that beautiful bean footage.
What are those little beans that they put in chili oil?
The beans they
You
put
know
in
what I'm
chili
talking
oil.
about?
No, I didn't know there were beans in
Yeah,
chili
yes.
oil.
When you go to like an Asian restaurant and you get the chili oil, sometimes there's those little tiny beans in there.
That's not this one.
Okay.
Lima bean.
Lima bean. I was gonna say
You're
fava bean.
close. Yeah, a bean named after the
Uh,
capital city. See? Yeah.
really? Oh, I did see that on the map. I
All
should have
right,
known
let's
that.
go with nut.
Is it,
This one's a
all right,
little
nut.
tricky.
I'm gonna say coffee.
This one is Brazil nut, the delicious tree nut not exclusive to the country of Brazil.
We're
And the
back.
last one is
Had to take a
the
look.
last one is a tuber.
Tuber.
This one I'm probably gonna mispronounce, so that might give you a clue.
Ooh, I was gonna say sweet potato. No, I'm
It
gonna
looks
go
like a
with.
sweet potato.
Oh, it's not cassava root,
I
is
don't
it?
think so. This it's starts with a Y.
Yam.
It's Yacon, Yacon, with the little tilde or whatever over the O.
Not ringing a bell.
Yeah, I don't,
Never heard
never
of it.
heard. I've never heard of that one either. So there are your.
Well, I've butchered that one. That was a great, entertaining game.
Well, I was just I was gonna list them off, but then I was like, well, you wanted a hint, so. But yeah,
I like.
the potato is the most predominant 3,000 types of domesticated potato. So that's that also. I mean, that's probably why this one seems like it'd be so good on like a roasted potato side dish.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was a fun game to suffer over. Um, but yeah, this sauce, yeah, the heat isn't very strong. Doesn't have to be. You can douse this and not have to worry about burning anybody out. This is a good one. To me, this is a good one to introduce people to. That like think that hot sauce is just Tabasco, Frank's, Louisiana. Like it's just cayenne, vinegar,
Yeah.
salt. This is this is one that would be. I hit my
Makes you
headset.
want to chuck it across the
Yeah, it
room.
makes me want to just rage out. But you can put this on something. No one, if I rolled this into a dish and then like served it, no one would be like, "Oh, Matt, you put hot sauce in here." They'd just be like, "Oh, like there's some interesting flavor, like the lemon, the cumin." The peppers don't punch with the heat that you would be like, "Oh my gosh, what have you done?" So
Yeah. Right.
yeah, I think this is a really good sauce. I put it as a one for heat. Like you can tell there's a presence of it, but it's not something that's going to burn you out. Did you get your score on this one done?
No, not yet. But I was gonna say it's got a good saltiness to it too.
Yeah, the saltiness, it's not over the top on the salt. It is a good balance, which especially with something like this with the oil that it has. It also has we mentioned the soy sauce that's in there. It could get salty fast if you're not careful. So I am pretty impressed with
Hmm.
how balanced that is. Um, yeah, no, I really like this one.
All right, got it.
All right, I had this one as a 79.
I had 81.
Yeah, this again, anything above 75 is something we'd have in our fridge year round. Above 50, recommend to buy. So another really good sauce. I'm excited to kind of test what this would go with. I may have to look up some empanada recipes and try to make some of those at home, or I don't know.
I don't think I've ever made empanadas before.
I'm trying to think of where would be the best empanada place in town because I've never really thought about that
Mhm.
before.
Probably somewhere on 44th Street,
Probably. There's probably got to be something over there.
28th or 44th Street.
But uh but yeah, the empanada like making it ourselves would be cool. I'm surprised you haven't done that cuz you guys do a lot of like making stuff yourself at home. The what's the thing you always make a bunch of? Tamales. Yeah.
Tamales.
I know it's a
Yeah,
different country, different everything, but it's like if something like that you make homemade like empanada seems like it'd be another like fun. I could see doing like a
yeah,
whole hey, we're going to make 100 empanadas, freeze up some, have some in the fridge.
yeah,
Like it would be a good
yeah. Our friend, yeah, our friend from Mexico, she definitely makes them. I think that's probably why we normally bum off her if she
okay.
makes empanadas. Yeah,
Yeah, well, if you do find a good solid recipe, or if anyone listening has like a go-to recipe that isn't too overly complicated. Like I'm good on like testing myself in the kitchen, but there are sometimes if the recipe is too involved, like there's a reason I've never made homemade croissants. Just too much layering. Too much layering and folding and
sit there and
refolding.
pull dough for 4 hours at 3 a.m. to have them by
Yeah.
breakfast.
Yeah. That was the thing with my sister doing like a brunch Mother's Day brunch thing is like I'll bring something, but then I'm thinking about it, I'm like, well, I'm not making any croissants, so I'm either going to buy some at the store or I might just do like a simple coffee cake that's like mix it up, throw it in a pan, done.
Yeah,
Um, but no, this one, so Panka is the name of the sauce company. Their website, pankasauce.com. All their Instagram, their social media is also Panka. That's Panqa sauce. So yeah, this is another good sauce. I'm glad we are able to crack this one open because we do have a lot of new brands that we haven't gotten into yet, and so I'm happy to see this one is in the fold and finally gotten cracked open. And we each have our own bottle, so I don't think it'll
is this
last very long.
is this the only sauce they do?
It's the only sauce that they have listed, yeah. So
Gotcha.
again, they're starting. They started small. This is a sauce they made in their restaurant. They bottled. They're trying to grow. Slowly but surely grow from that. But they are first and foremost. I mean, this brand, the Panka brand, is the sauce, but it is something it's coming originated from the Quero restaurant. So
Yeah,
over in
nice.
Encinitas, California. So, um, so check them out on their website. I saw they do have a spot on their website that has all these like video reviews, and I tried to be a little selective because some of them I'm like I don't want them to talk too much about the flavor. I want to kind of be surprised, but I did see a handful of familiar faces on that page that have reviewed the sauce and that really liked it. So um,
Mhm.
there was one guy that I met, Captain Cooks, who's over in. I saw him at the Philadelphia show last year. He like was just drinking the bottle, which I can totally see. Like it's a smooth pour, so
Oh yeah,
it'd be.
or a Bloody Mary. Just throw like half a bottle of this in a Bloody Mary. That'd be
I
good.
think that would be good. I would not have thought of that, but that's now that I think of it, that would make a lot of sense. But yeah, really good stuff. Special thank you to Harold at flamerlame.pro. He's one of our Patreon subscribers. Special thank you again for listening. However you listen, if you want to support the podcast and gain additional perks, just like the shout outs at the end of the episode, please consider our Patreon. Whether you join or not, we do appreciate you for listening. Also, special thank you again to Scoville.com for sponsoring this week's episode. Again, Scoville.com, the heat source code is 50% off your first month of your subscription service. Again, you can do 1 or 3 bottle delivery monthly on that, and it's curated just for you. So, special thank you again to Clark over at Scoville.com. And then, if you'd like to sponsor an episode, send us a message at theheatsourcepod@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at the Heat Source Podcast for all updates, and tune again next week when Mike and I wrestle a gorilla to the death.
We will not win. I don't care if there's 98 men behind us. We're
Here's the
not winning.
trick: I go first. He kills me, but he breaks my bones. Use the sharp broken bones as knives. You've got this.
I'm running. I'm running.
Use the sharp broken bones to climb the wall to get out of this Thunderdome.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'd use those bones for. I just got to be quicker than
Yeah. Okay. That's where we're gonna end the episode.
you.
Yeah. So yeah, Mason was demanding that. He was just acting crazy. He bit one of the power cords, so I had to yell at him for that. I'm like, I can't,
That's great. That is
I'm like, if
crazy.
you bite one of these power cords, you're gonna have to be grounded. It's just the way it is.
Did he actually bite the power cord?
I said that's not the way we conduct ourselves.
Did he actually bite it, or are you just making a joke?
No.
That's really funny.
So I do have my dog. The Polly did bite um, the vacuum cord when she was a little bit smaller, where I had to like electrical tape up. All right. Let me do the intro, and then we'll get into it here. I can hear that.
Could you
Yeah.
hear that? Just
Just
scratching the
taking the
neck.
hairs off your neck. Or is it not that?
It's
Is
a
it not
big
that
issue.
sharp?
Oh, it's that
Oh,
sharp.
okay.
It's a I forget. This is a carbon blade, dude. You could shave a sleeping cat's balls with this one. He would not wake up,
So much. That was a level of imagery that I just was like going down the list.
dude. Fancy way of saying it's sharp.